Hello friends and welcome in. Welcome to the channel. I hope you guys are having a great day. And welcome to all my new subscribers. Thank you guys so much for joining my beautiful community. You are in great company and thank you for supporting my channel. My friends, I am in my quest for clearing off all these projects that I had prepped that never had a chance to get to because the holiday season is really creeping upon me here. And I have such a packed agenda for the final 3 months of the year, October, November, December, that I must clear the deck. I have to clear the deck so I can bring in all the beautiful sparkle for the holiday seasons and all the fun things that I plan on doing, all of the fun kits and projects, and oh my gosh, I'm so excited for this year's holiday season. Anyways, guys, so I have another project that I had, tucked, and then it just kept going further and further and further back over into my lineup. It's like an assembly line of little beading trays of all my projects. And, guys, here's the thing. I know you guys feel me, right? You can absolutely put your beads away. And then it's like, okay, and then I'll just come back to it. But then I'm like, you know what? I'll never remember that I wanted to do that with that. There's no way because I make too many projects. I make too many designs. Throughout any month or any year, there's just no way. So you know what? You can absolutely put your beads away, but I have decided to challenge myself, if you will, and actually finish the projects that I had started before I forget. Because again, I could take a picture of it, but that'll get lost in translation in the iPhone too, right? So I'm like, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to finish what I started with these couple of projects that I never got to. So that's what we're doing, friends. A fun knotting project. This will be a really fun bracelet. You can probably already tell from the thumbnail. We're going to do a fun knotting project. This, I believe, was my July bag, friends. My birthday bash bag. And these beads and the starfish beads and the toggle came from that bag. I don't know, because I can't remember, guys. It's been obviously sitting here this long, whether or not I had this cording in there or not, but hopefully you have some waxed knotting cord in your arsenal. And that's what I'm working with here, friends, is some wax knotting cord. And it's 0.8 millimeter. So let's get to it, shall we? For tools, friends, all you're going to need are some sharp cutters or some sharp scissors, right, to cut your cord. And then I do have on standby my, not my needle nose, I can't even think. Well, anyway, tweezers. That's, okay. Hello, Jen. Hello. Welcome to your words today. Tweezers, my friends, if I happen to need tweezers. I don't think I will, but if I do. And then I do have some tape. Because I am going to do a couple of square knots on this guy. Not the whole project, but just at the very beginning and probably just right at the end. So it's just basic, simple tools, friends. And then the 0.8 millimeter wax cord. You could, of course, if you wanted to use some cotton cord or nylon knotting cord, you could, any cord really that'll fit through your beads you could use. But this is that beautiful, it's just a gorgeous beautiful summer blue. And it's 0.8 millimeter and it's wax. So that's what I'm using. And then the starfish beads, the toggle, these are 6s and these are 8s. So I'm using a combination of the 6s and the 8 millimeters and then just 2 starfish beads for either end. And then of course the standard toggle clasp here. So guys, what I did to get started, okay, and I'm gonna move things out of the way here so we can do a couple of square knots to get started. What I'm going to do, let me fix my ruler here, is you're going to cut a wingspan of 2 pieces of cord, right? And that'll be plenty enough. So I just cut 2 wingspans of my cord and fed both of the loops, fold the cord in half and do a lark's head. So that's all I did here was took both of my cords, folded them in half, and then just started out on the round portion of my toggle with a lark's head knot right there, okay? And so then you'll essentially then have 4 cords. So we'll have 2 outer cords and 2 inner cords. I think I got them right there, okay. And so now what I'm gonna do, guys, is I'm going to just tape down my toggle. Now, of course, I have my beading mat So we'll see how well this stays, but we'll give it a shot. If I have to move the beading mat, then we may have to move it. And then I'm gonna just take down these 2 center cords here, just so they'll stay in place. I just wanna establish a couple of square knots here. So we'll just get that stable somehow, okay? And let's make sure that those are flat, and they are. And so now I've got the 2 inner cords and the 2 outer cords, and so I'm just gonna do a couple of square knots here, friends. And probably a couple, like literally 2, maybe 3. So we will go with our first portion here and pull that tight, and then we'll finish that on this side. So a square knot, my friends, if you are not familiar, is 2 knots to complete the knot, right? So the first knot, let me zoom you in a little here. The first knot, we do our P shape, and we are gonna do this cord and lay it over that top, right? Then we'll take that left cord, we are gonna go lay that over the top of the cord here, right? So it's always on top, and then we're gonna put this cord through the intersection underneath and pull it up here through the loop. And that's the first part of our square knot. And then the second part, we complete it by doing the left P. So we do the P shape on the left, lay the cord over your center cords, and then grab the right cord, and we are gonna take that and put it underneath the intersection of those 3 cords and pull it up to the P here in that loop. And that completes our square knot. So that's 2. And let me see how that looks. Maybe we'll do 3. Let's do 3. One more. And so there's that, and then we'll finish that knot. And so there's 3 square knots there. And now I'm gonna go ahead and I can lift that up and lift that up. And now I have 3 square knots to start my bracelet out there. Okay, and so what we're gonna do now, friends, is I'm gonna lay it this way. So we have our outer cords and our inner cords. Now, the first thing I'm gonna do, let me pull you out, because I'm mostly out of frame here. We have 4 cords, right? So I'm going to first grab all 4 of my cords here, okay? And I am going to grab one of my little starfish metal beads here and put all 4 of these cords in there because they will fit. And again, this is 0.8 millimeter. And feed that guy down. And we'll just pull all of these cords so he's all snug there. And he's just gonna lay right there below those initial square knots. And you can do as many square knots as you want, but that's what I've got right there. Okay. Okay. So now what we're gonna do is we are going to separate our cords again. So we need the outer cords, and then we have the 2 center cords. Now, when you're working with your cords on your mat, friends, it's pretty easy to tell which ones are your ends by just really looking here, really close at the bead. You can almost tell which way your cords are wanting to go. So I've got my 2 ends, and now I have my center cord here. So I'm gonna now take my outer cords, and I'm gonna feed 3 on each cord of my 6 millimeters. And again, you can use any size beads you want. I'm using 6 millimeter rondelles and 8 millimeter. So there's 3 on that outer cord. Now I'm gonna take this cord over here and do the same exact thing. 3 6mm down this cord. Okay, and there we go. Now I am going to take these inner two cords and I am going to put an 8mm down this center. And these particular beads have a hole generous enough to where I can get 2 of my cords through. Okay, so we've now got that 8mm down the center. Okay. And let's see. Get my cords situated, see what I'm doing here, guys. Okay, there we go. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of these cords right here. I'm going to put them together, and I am going to tie an overhand knot right here. Now, you could also do some square knots if you wanted to. You could do anything you want. Okay, but we're just going to get all 4 of our cords together here, and we're just going to get an overhand knot. And that's where I'll grab my tweezers and put them through that loop, grab all of these cords, and see if I can guide that guide that knot right there in that space, just where I'm looking for that knot to be. So what I'm going to do is make sure my starfish bead is straight. I'm going to kind of use my mat a little bit here for some leverage, and I'm going to push that down. Now, we really do not need to do more than 1 knot here because we've got 4 cords. And now I'm just going to take and pull all 4 of my cords to make that knot nice and tight. And that's what we have. So we have a nice big chunky knot there. We do not need to do more than 1 knot right there. And now we're going to go ahead and do it again. We're going to just repeat this all the way down. I will do 1 more to show you. And again, we will determine our center cords right here. And let me push you in a little bit. And I can tell that these 2 cords are wanting to be my outer cords. So we'll grab these outer cords. We're going to feed on 3 of the 6mm on each of our outer cords. And we'll grab this one. Nice holes in these beads. They're really great for a knotting project, that's for sure. So there, we've got those 3. I am now going to take my middle 2 strands, right? These middle 2 strands here, we're going to marry them up. We're going to put an 8mm down both of these strands. Bring that up. Okay, and now we're going to grab all 4 of our cords, and we'll do an overhand knot right here. And we grab our tweezers. I'm going to go through the loop, grab all 4 of those cords, and pull everything and get that pretty close to where I want that to be. And it's not going to be perfect. It's kind of a whimsy knotting project, but we'll get that pretty close. We'll pull that out. Okay, and now I will go ahead and I can use my mat for leverage here if I need to. And push that knot up. Use my thumb, get that pushed up. And then I'll take and pull, while I'm holding that knot, I'm gonna pull all 4 of my strands. That one was really had some slack. So where they're nice and tight. And there we go. And I am just going to continue this. So now again, I've got 2 outer cords and 2 inner cords. So I'm just going to kind of always go with where the cords are taking me. So I'm really taking a close look at my cords here and noticing that this one wants to be on the outside now. And these 2 want to be on the inside. All right? And so we're going to feed 3 down each of our outers and an 8mm down the center. And then tie an overhand knot. So I'll do one more here, close up, friends. So there's 2 and 3. And another 3 over here. If you wanted to switch that 8mm bead out for another size, you could do that too. I just love that color, that royal blue. I love that bead. And I just wanted to use it because I just love it. So I'm gonna grab the center strands here. Marry them up and put that 8mm down both of my cords. And there we go. And that's what we have. And now I'm going to grab all of those cords. Push all my beads down. Grab all 4 of those cords and make a nice overhand knot right there. And then we will go through the loop with our tweezers, grab those cords, and then we'll get that knot pulled down for the most part. Remove my tweezers and see if I can get that knot pushed down in place. And now we will, holding that knot, I will pull each of my cords here. And that's what I've got. And notice how each of them are just a little bit different. There's also some movement there with those beads, right? Almost like little flowers, little flower heads. So I'm just gonna continue the same thing until I get to the desired size, and then we will finish it the way we started it. And so I will fast forward right here, my friends, and I will see you in just a minute. Okay, friends, I am all done. I have done 5 inches of my beading and knotting. From the square knot to my last run here is 5 inches. And I'm done because we need to get 3 square knots in and put our other little metal starfish bead on here. And so that's what mine looks like. Some of mine on the outside are a little looser than the next. And I love it though, because I'll show you, I'll pull you in here. I love it because it's just very whimsy for a really cool summer bracelet, right? And it's just, you know, you can almost wear it to the beach. You might as well get your sparkle on at the beach, right? So I love it. That's what it looks like. So let me get you pulled out here. we are now going to go ahead and feed on that starfish and finish up the bracelet with some square knots. So I am going to grab all 4 of my cords, just like I did at the beginning. And of course, you know, they're all different lengths. That's fine. But I'm going to try to get them all married up here and get those fed through that square starfish. And I think I got it. There we go. Okay, and now we'll pull all these cords. And get that all straight. And now once again, I need to figure out where my outside cords are and my inside cords. So let's get that pushed up and just fiddle with it and get everything all in place there. Okay, so just about right. Okay, and so now we're gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna hold my inner cords though because I need to turn it the other way. We're gonna do the same thing we did before. We're gonna put down that on the tape there, and then we're gonna go ahead and tape down those inner strands as well. And finish it up with some square knots. And then put our toggle on, our bar portion. Okay, so I think that's correct. Yeah, these are the ends, these are the outside cords. And that looks like that's definitely the inside cords. Okay. And so I will put my tape down on those inside cords there. Okay, and we'll finish up a few square knots. I think we did 3. So here is the beginning of 1. And I'm going to be really careful when I'm pulling these here that I'm kind of getting all of this in place. For this first square knot, might be a little fussy until we get that just the way he needs to be. And then let's finish that side off. And there's the second of our knot there. And I think that looks good. And so then we'll do 2 more. So there's 1, and then we'll finish up that first knot. So there's 2 full knots and a 3rd knot. So we'll do our P shape, lay that cord over your core center cords. We'll take the left side, we will go over that cord and down through the intersection of all 3 cords and come up from the loop here. And pull that, and then we'll finish that off. So our P shape, lay the cord over the center cords. We'll grab the right cord and go underneath all 3 of those cords to come up through the loop. And there it is. So I am rapidly running out of cord here, but thankfully I had enough to do quite a few here, which I'm very happy with. So I think I'm just going to finish up one last knot with the micro amount of cord I have left, but again, it's wax, so it's easy to handle. And I just don't want to have just the plain cord showing. So it's always, you know, pretty to have some knots. You know, these square knots, they're so pretty, such a beautiful decorative knot. And there we go. And so now I can definitely remove my tape. And so that's what I've got there. And we'll pull those nice and tight. Now I will take and try to get an overhand knot in on these outer cords here, where I just did all my square knots. I'm going to finish that with an overhand knot. And we'll push that down. So we've got an overhand knot there. And then on this cord here, again, these are the cords that I just did all those overhand, or excuse me, not overhand, square knots with. So we're just going to finish off here. A couple overhand knots right there. And now we can go ahead and flush cut those. Bye-bye. Just make sure they're flush cut pretty close and your knots are good and tight. And so there's that. And now we just have to do the bar portion of our toggle. And so I'll do some overhand knots here, but I'm going to do one before I completely commit to these last knots. I will put it back on my hand or my wrist and see. Just double check before I completely commit to those last overhands there. Just some simple knots. I think that's about where it was. No? A little tighter. Let's see if that's any better. I think that's good right there. Yep, right there. So I'll go ahead and commit to that. So just do a couple simple overhand knots there on the bar portion of that toggle. And I hope you guys enjoyed a fun knotting project today. I am enjoying clearing off my pending projects. So all is good. All is good. Pull those nice and tight. And there we go. Can do a third one for third time's a good luck charm, right? And make sure that that's nice and secure. I have a feeling this one's going to get a lot of use. Shocking, right? My favorite color blue, friends. My favorite color blue. But at least he's done. He's done and ready for next summer. I mean, don't necessarily have to be a summer bracelet, but, you know, could be if you're going on vacation. It's got a little vacation vibe situation going on here too. And then we'll go ahead and trim that off. Let's see what we have. All right. Woohoo! Oh my gosh. I feel so accomplished. That's 2 projects, but also I did 3. I did 3 off camera. I made 2 bracelets and a necklace off camera. And so, perfect, guys. And that's what that looks like. Love it. Love it. So, my rule that I broke, I'm always preaching to you guys here, don't short yourself. Well, look at what I did. So I really shorted myself because obviously this would look a whole lot cuter if there was some square knots all the way down, but you know what? I'm not completely mad at it. It's like, you know, not the worst thing in the world. So I will just be mindful to even go a little bit more next time, not knowing where my project might take me. Hope you guys enjoyed, like I said. And there is another project off of my desk. Until the next one, friends, be well.